Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to a top 10 list revisited. Yes, that's right. One more time, we're gonna go back and revisit and redo one of my top 10 lists. Last year, I did the top 10 WrestleMania moments of all time. And I forgot one of the biggest moments of all time. So this year, before WrestleMania happens in just a few short days, once again, we're going to do the top 10 WrestleMania moments revisited, this time with that one missing inserted in. Now, most of this video will be from last year, with certain edits here and there. What we're going to do is we're just going to take out one, which is number 10, and everything else goes down to 9 and things like that. We'll make certain edits. We'll have some videos still in there, right? But for the most part, everything's going to stay the same. But still, we hope you guys enjoy the top 10 WrestleMania moments revisited. So let's start off with the new number 10. The Austin era begins, WrestleMania 14. This is where everything becomes a reality, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin beats Shawn Michaels in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Because the Austin era begins, and there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on with this. Shawn Michaels has this debilitating back injury, and he's working the show with for Austin and to put to help put Austin over, and something that who knows if he really wanted to do it or not. Undertaker, basically Undertaker was there with his fist taped, kind of showing that if Michaels didn't do business, that he was going to, he was going to give Michaels the business. But that has now been confirmed by the Broken Skull sessions back to the old me. Shawn did the business. He put over Austin, and it has not been the same for the WWE since then. It has been an up and down roller coaster, but the Austin era and the Attitude era reign supreme. And because Austin defeated Michaels at WrestleMania 14. Number 9, The Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania 18. And it's funny that this, it's not funny, I know this is on the list, but what is funny coincidentally is that just, I think last night I was watching a video Rock uploaded to YouTube about this match in particular, and he was talking about giving some backstory about this match and what is going to happen and what they decided to do and everything like that, and how they decided to kind of turn it on its ear and everything. And it's not the most scientific match, but it's just a fantastic match with the crowd and everything about it. It was just incredible to watch a masterpiece, I think, and maybe not technical skill, but a masterpiece in wrestling performance. Let me interrupt here. Jim Cornette on his wonderful podcast does these things where he goes back and he looks at matches in the past, and he looked at this one, and he determined that this, without question, is a 5-star match. And for anyone, Dave Meltzer or anyone else, to give it less than 5 stars was ridiculous. A 5-star match doesn't necessarily have to be the best technical match. It doesn't have to be the bloodiest brawl or anything. It's you know it when you see it. You know it when you see it. Back to old me. It is incredible to watch, and that moment when Rock and Hogan are standing there and the crowd is going crazy. That's the moment everybody wants to have at WrestleMania, and the Rock and Hogan they got at WrestleMania 18. Number 8, Kofi Mania. I mean, this is, this is a moment. You know, I really was kind of even debating whether or not to even put this on the list, but I think you have to put this on the list. I think that it was such a great moment. It was something that uh, the story it's come out of nowhere. I mean, Mustafa Ali gets hurt, and then they have to put in Kofi Kingston into the match. And Kofi Kingston does so well in the gauntlet match that he gets over with the crowd big and becomes Kofi Mania, and he goes on to become the first African-born wrestler to win the WWE Championship, and it's that incredible moment that you see, and it's that incredible moment that that you see, and Xavier's crying, and Big E happy, and all his friends, everything like that, and it's a moment. I do think it is a moment that I think some people kind of they look at it in a different way for some reason, and I don't understand why. Some people look at this as Kofi Kingston being the first black champion. That is not the case. The best black champion is The Rock, but still, this is still a great moment. This is still a great moment, and it was a wonderful moment to see um, how it went down and everything like that, and the fact that it's on Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan had his moment makes it even incredible, even more incredible. So I think without question, it belongs on this list. And number 7, first women's main event, WrestleMania 35. Supposedly, it was supposed to be Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. New me here again, and it should have been. I think we all realize now that it should have been that, right? Because what Becky Lynch proved was just that even though she got hot, she couldn't carry everything on her shoulders. She couldn't do anything. Good, good for her. Kept the Raw Women's Championship for a year, but she couldn't carry a damn thing. Okay, back to old me. However, Becky Lynch got hot. I guess they just couldn't keep her out of the main event. So WrestleMania 35 main event was a triple threat match. It was a winner take all match for the SmackDown and the Raw Women's Championship titles. And well, it was pretty good. It was pretty decent. There was a botch at the end where Ronda Rousey's shoulder was up. However, that did not stop Becky Lynch from winning the Raw Women, both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship in the first ever women's main event. It was a very special main event, and it's something that I think we could see again. I think we could see again if someone does get hot. I actually think if Ronda Rousey ever does come back, there is a very big possibility that we will see Charlotte versus Ronda in the main event of WrestleMania if that's what Vince wanted. And I think he wanted that because of the superstardom that Charlotte and Ronda have. Becky Lynch is not she's not a crossover star like those two are, but like I said, she got hot and they unfortunately couldn't keep her out of that match. Um, so whatever it takes, but I do think we probably will see another women's main event. And but the one for WrestleMania 35. Number 6, Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30. Um, the predecessor to Kofi Mania, the Mania, Daniel Bryan, um, was basically what it was basically the Kofi Kingston story again. The authority saying that Daniel Bryan is nothing but a B+ player and couldn't get the job done, so he had to go through not only the game Triple H to get into the main event, but then he had to go through Randy Orton and Batista to win, in which he did, leaving him as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Just a great moment on the miracle on Bourbon Street. Everything you can think of about that was excellent. The story arc everything like that. And it was a great moment in WWE. It was a great moment in WrestleMania.
Number 5.
I'm sorry, I love you. Tugs at your heartstrings, doesn't it? When Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair are wrestling, and it's Ric Flair's last match, and he is trying his hardest to keep his career on the line and everything, and you can see Ric Flair getting up, and he's already crying, and Shawn is he's in that corner doing sweet chin music, and the thing looks up at Shawn, and Shawn looks at him and says, "I'm sorry, I love you." He hits it with sweet chin music and pins him for the 1, 2, 3, ending the career, in-ring career of Ric Flair in the WWE at least. You know, he would go on to go to TNA, Impact, and wrestle there, but his career in WWE was on, and it's still just a moment that it can hit you right in the heart as well. And by the way, it was a fantastic match. It really was. It really was a fantastic match. One last match for Ric Flair to go out on as a good one. And of course, John, the king of WrestleMania, Mr. WrestleMania as it is, did his thing. And it was just, it's just, a very heartbroken and touching moment. And then afterwards, when everybody's standing, giving Ric Flair his wants and everything like that. And again, I had it. We talked about it at number 10 with Undertaker saying goodbye. But now with Ric Flair saying goodbye, that's the way it should have been happened. That's the way it should have gone. And again, like I said, he went to wrestle on in Impact in TNA, but that's what WWE. He knows he's never wrestled again. So yeah, that's what that's a great way to go out. And I'm sorry, I love you. It's a WrestleMania match where Ric Flair says goodbye.
Number 4.
Savage and Elizabeth reunite at WrestleMania 8. To set the scene, this is a retirement match between Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 8. This is just after Randy Savage cost Ultimate Warrior the WWE Championship to Sergeant Slaughter at the Royal Rumble. So now it's a retirement match. The loser has to retire. Macho Man he's in his thing, which is like the Macho King, and he has sensational Sherry at his side, and the Ultimate Warrior is the Ultimate Warrior, and they have a fantastic match, and it ends with the Ultimate Warrior beating the Macho Man Randy Savage in the ring, meaning that the Ultimate Macho Man Randy Savage must retire from wrestling. Sensational Sherry cannot believe it. She is mind is blown, right? She cannot believe it and then she says, "Well, what happened?" And and she goes off on Randy. Goes off on Randy. But look who's in the crowd. It's Miss Elizabeth. She's there to watch in case this is Randy's last match. She wants to be there, and she can't. And she's has on that she can stand, and she can't stand no more. And she runs and goes to the ring. She throws the Sensational Sherry out, and she sends her on her way. And Macho Man can't believe that Elizabeth is back, and Elizabeth can't believe that Macho Man. And then they get together and they hug and they bring everybody's joy and laughter and crying, and you're not crying, I'm crying, and whatever the saying is, and everybody's happy. And Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage reunite after what had been years of of you know this this breaking up after the whole mega powers exploding, and they were not together in that on television. They may not have even been together in real life at that point. I'm not necessarily sure. I think it was maybe later on that year. Maybe later on that year at SummerSlam when they got married. Um, so I think that was at that year SummerSlam. But yes, but it was just a fantastic moment, and It was just awesome, and it was an incredible moment. One that if you got the network, if you can find it on YouTube, you should go ahead and find the the reunification of Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth.
And here's where we add in the new one. Number 3 is the heist of the century. WrestleMania 31, Santa Clara, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Have a hell of a battle. Where Suplex City was born. Suplex City, bitch, right? All that good stuff. Great stories told. Um, I think if you look at it now, we probably look at it in a different light now, because I think a lot of us are probably not. We're kind of getting tired of the spamming of the finisher type of deal, and this was kind of it. I think Roman kicked out of 3 F5s at this point. And then later on in the WrestleMania 34 match, he kicked out of 5 before finally getting put down with the 6th. Um, so yeah. Um, but during this match, Seth Rollins cashes in his Money in the Bank contract and hits the stomp on Lesnar and hits the stomp on Reigns. 1, 2, 3, new WWE champion Seth Rollins, the heist of the century. A true WrestleMania moment that in my last video I totally forgot about, and I can't believe I forgot about it. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this over, because number 10 is no longer a WrestleMania moment. Number 10 in the old video was the Undertaker retiring, and I had it at number 10, but because he basically came back and he kind of ruined that retirement. If he had stayed retired after that match, it probably would be higher. It probably would be in the top 5. But because he came back the next year at WrestleMania to do the thing with John Cena, that was bad. But not as bad. It was good, but it was bad that he came back. But whatever. He did, and he obviously had his match last year with AJ Styles, and I think he's gone. I think he's retired. I think he's going to get enough fun. That doesn't mean that he won't dress up and take it and choke slam somebody. Listen, he's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame next year when they're in Texas. And guess what? He may make an appearance at that WrestleMania, choke slam Elias or somebody like that. With Monday After Raw, he may choke slam somebody then. But I don't think you're going to see him in the ring wrestling again. Um, that being said, getting back to the heist of the century, a truly great moment, awesome way to end a pay-per-view with Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania. Yeah, I mean it's exciting. It's exciting, and it was something that I think we'll see again. I think we'll see it again, hopefully from the women's side of it, not from necessarily the men's. I hope if the men's do it, it'll be another, maybe another 10 years or so before we see it from the men's side. But I'd like to see it from the women's side, and it's going to be interesting to figure out what they're going to do with this year's Money in the Bank contract. That being said, what an awesome moment, what an awesome time to be a wrestling fan. Number 3, Seth Rollins cashes in the Money in the Bank contract on the main event of WrestleMania 31, the heist of the century.
Number 2, Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant. Now, if you've watched the documentary HBO did on Andre the Giant, it is incredible. And then there's the story that Hulk Hogan tells, and tells a story about how you never knew with Andre, because Andre was Andre, and Andre didn't want to do a job. He didn't do a job. That's just it. And Andre was, they billed him as being undefeated and everything like that. Although he had lost several times, in that history, he had lost several times. So, including I think he even lost the match to Hulk Hogan at one point in the AWA. But so yeah, it was incredible to what they were doing, and in that HBO documentary, Hulk Hogan talks about scripting. He wrote out everything about the match and what he thought how the match should go and everything like that. He left out he wrote everything. He just left out the finish. So they go through and they do everything in the match, and they do everything in the match. And so then when they get down to the part where Hogan is left open, Andre says body slam, and Hogan body slams. The body slam is heard around the world. He lays down the ground. He says leg drop. And Hogan goes and hits the leg drop, and it's a 1, 2, 3 to victory for Hulk Hogan. And wrestling is changed forever. As WrestleMania 3, up until that point, the most people in a arena, 93,000 at this Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan, saw Hulk Hogan slam Andre the Giant. Again, not necessarily the first time we saw Hulk Hogan has slammed Andre the Giant many times before, not only in AWA, but actually in WWF at that time. So that's a big moment in what is what made wrestling even more mainstream, in particular the WWE and the WWF at the time, and it just brought wrestling to the forefront of sports and entertainment, and it's never left since. Hulkamania ran wild that night. So without question, number two, it's the reason why WrestleMania is what it is. More than like, the first WrestleMania had a good, had a good showing, and so did WrestleMania 2, from the three locations. But WrestleMania 3 was it was the true granddaddy of them all, and that's why it's number two on my list of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time. Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, and the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. The streak is over. That is what Michael Cole said right after his hand came down for the third time in the WrestleMania match, WrestleMania 30, between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. The streak is over. Something that none of us ever thought we see happen. Or if we did thought we see it, we thought it would be in Undertaker's last match, but he would lose the streak at that time. But for that, it was just it renders you speechless. I'm just thinking right now, and this speechless about it. But you have to say it's a moment. One of the better moments in WWE history, one of the better moments in wrestling history, and it's the best WrestleMania moment ever. The streak is over. And what else can you say? The number one moment in the history of WrestleMania. The streak is over.
All right, y'all. So that is my new top 10 WrestleMania moments list. We revisited it. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think of this new list. Let me know what you guys think. Am I missing something? And make sure you guys click that notification bell because we got some big stuff going on this upcoming week. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. And then we've got night one and night two. And then we got WrestleMania night one and night two. And we got so much other stuff. Predictions next Friday for Stand Over Take and Deliver. And in 2 weeks, predictions for WrestleMania night one and night two. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good, to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.